Hey guys, I'm Aisha.
And I'm Emily,
Welcome to Cooked Up Parenting.
where coffee is required
Laundry is optional.
and motherhood is always worth talking about. I love that you are always nursing in
Always.
all of these now. This is your life.
It is, especially since he is a hardcore comfort nurser. Doesn't like other humans. He likes dad on occasion. I'm really the human for him. He's
Very
loves us
fun.
a lot. So
I have like a love-hate relationship with comfort nursing because on one hand it is exhausting to be the only person that can like soothe them, but it's also so convenient.
it is. Yeah.
Like
No,
you don't have to think about it, you just know.
it really is. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Oh boy.
Well,
So
today we're going to talk about we do this every time.
we don't have any
So
plans on who is introducing. So Emily, introduce us to the topic of the day.
um, we're going to talk about homeschooling and some of the things that we wish we would have done differently from the beginning.
I think we can both agree. We wish we'd done a lot of things differently.
So many things.
Yep. So many things.
Yeah. Homeschooling is definitely a massive learning curve and it's fun. But man, if I could have started out with the things that I know now, we'd be in such a better spot.
So if
But it's
you
fine.
are going to start out homeschooling and you're listening, take us very seriously. We have been there.
Yeah.
And a unique perspective because I feel like we have some similar things in common that we both would have done differently. You came from a public school background. I came
Mhm.
from a homeschool background. I was, in fact, homeschooled until junior year, in which time I transitioned to full-time college. So we we have both sides here, and we both made mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you drinking today?
The only thing I can still drink for like the third week in a row, which is this Lipton green tea. I'm positive it's terrible for you, and I don't care right now.
Green tea is a choice. Is it sweet?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
citrus.
thank heavens.
Yeah, no, not plain green tea. Although today, while we were out and about, walking around when we stopped at Starbucks, and I tried to get a peach green tea lemonade because I really like those, and they didn't have it, so they gave me green tea with raspberry syrup. It was disgusting. Very sad.
Ew. Okay, well,
I should not have read the ingredients in that.
no, why? Emily?
It's better to not know.
Yeah, you just don't know. Just look
I want
away.
to pretend it's natural, good for me tea.
Yeah, it's tea. How bad could it be?
Yeah, great. Listen,
Okay.
it's better than being severely dehydrated, so we're gonna count the win. Do you want to start?
No, you start with something. Like,
Me?
yeah, so, like, when you think about this question, what's the first thing that you're like, would have done that differently?
My very first thing well, actually, my initial thought was everything, but that doesn't really help anybody.
Yeah.
Um, but like going all the way back to starting, I think I was so excited to start homeschooling, but I tried to do it, bring public school into the home setting.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, we're going to start. I was ready to start at 4 with like a strict curriculum. And like we kind of dove in to this really massive amount of work right off the bat into a curriculum I had never even looked at.
Wait,
I actually think I heard
what did you start with? Because I think it's the one that I hate.
master books.
I have, like, the most hatred for master books.
Well, and you are actually the one who recommended it to me. And to be fair, you had never homeschooled at
I
this point.
heard so many people love it, and then I we used it because I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Trash.
Awful. It
Maybe
was
not
so
all of it,
awful.
but like the science specifically, trash.
And this, I feel like this was so long ago, I couldn't pinpoint why exactly I hated it. but it was just like, it really set a terrible tone for
It felt
homeschooling for
like a
us.
lot of stuff and nothing of us all at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember sitting down for like hours and hours with my almost 5 year old. And she was just like fighting me and miserable and angry. And I was like, no, we have to do this. And we have to spend this much time doing this. And I had only picked that curriculum because I didn't know any curriculums at all. I have never met anyone who had homeschooled at that point. And so I knew you who was homeschooled and you said master books. And I was like, great, let's grab that.
It was like,
And
I
I got
remember,
everything.
when did you guys start homeschooling?
Um, the summer of 2019.
Okay.
So Emery was still 4.
Okay. Yeah, I knew a lot of people that were coming into, like, their kids were coming into age right then, and they were
Mm-hmm.
recommending master books, and I was like, sweet, it's a Christian material. Like, surely
Yeah.
this is going to be quality. And I hear good things about a couple of their books, but we tried both their science and social studies for the early years. I hated them with, like, a strong passion. I'm sorry if you're
Well,
not
and then
a lover.
we like dove into it. It was horrible. It was miserable. It was just like nonstop fighting. And to be fair, like Emery was definitely not ready. I know some kids are like you have some kids who are really excited to start young. My oldest was not one of them. She would have done I it would have been such a great thing if I would have not only not started her at 4, but waited like the following year because her birthday's in the summer. So
Mm-hmm.
actually waited until she turned 6. I wish I would have to try to start any sort of formal education with her because it really turned her off. And then we like stopped. We just stopped. And I wish I would have just stayed stopped, but instead I went ahead and spent $1 billion purchasing the Simply Charlotte Mason curriculum, which I actually don't mind that curriculum. It was fine, but it was way too much for a 4 year old. And to be
Oh,
fair, their
yeah.
website says that. Their website's like don't start till 6 or 7, and I was like, no, we're fine. And so we tried it, and it was also horrible because we were not ready. And then it just like followed us for so long because we didn't complete that curriculum. And then I think from there we went to 5 in a row. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Which that one was fine. It was very very simple, but the books that it recommended you read, I could never find. Like could not find them in a library, could not find them on Amazon half the time. Like you had to like go to crazy book websites and buy them for $1 billion, which I
Yeah.
couldn't afford.
I remember
And
looking into it, and that was my biggest holdback. I knew someone who had it, and I was like, I can't find these books nowhere. What the heck?
and there was so much stuff that you had to print off constantly even though it was in a
Mm-hmm.
book, and so much extra material that you had to purchase. And we were like in a hotel because we were moving, and
Mm-hmm.
it yeah, another setup for failure. And so we tried that, and then what else did we try? I don't know. We just kept bouncing from curriculum to curriculum and never finished anything and never like I don't know. It just really set the tone for like zero follow through on anything, which just kept pushing us farther and farther behind because I kept telling myself she's young, she's young, she's young, but then all of a sudden she was 7 and
Mm-hmm.
we had never gone through a full curriculum. So that would be like my very first thing is like one, really look into the curriculums you're doing instead of just grabbing one
I
and
feel like I see a lot
start when
of
your kid's actually ready.
veteran homeschool moms that say like, oh, it doesn't like the curriculum matters less than connection, and it's which it does, but also you need to figure out what is going to suit you and your family so that
Yeah.
you can really like a curriculum is best applied if it works for you.
Hmm.
And there are going to be curriculums that click better for like your family or your brain. Like I remember I looked at a math curriculum that I'd done a whole year of with Theo, and then I went to go do it with Liesel, and I was pregnant. It was when I had gotten pregnant with Mo, and I looked at it, and my brain just like broke, and I was like, I did this for a whole year. I don't even know how to start this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to do it then. Like, I'm not going to sit and drag myself through this. And I grabbed another curriculum that I could look at and actually accomplish. But like the curriculum does matter to an extent. And
It
knowing
does.
that there's different, I would say more than the curriculum mattering, understanding what style of education you want. Because if you are like, really want your kids to have a textbook or workbook for every single subject, master books, that's what you're going to get. But
Yep.
I did not want, I don't know what I wanted that originally, actually. I started way too relaxed and way too workbook oriented. I wanted workbooks for everything that would take us like 10 minutes for each subject and we'd be done in 40 minutes. And that's how I planned on
Yep.
homeschooling. And I started way, way too relaxed because I was homeschooled and I was like, I totally got this. I don't even need to think about it. And then
I'm a pro.
when I was a pro, because I was homeschooled, then I used to laugh and like be like, oh, those literature based learners, what trash. They sit for hours and read books. And they spend so much time on
Ew.
reading. And that's disgusting. We can do it all quicker in workbooks and it's more efficient. And so my counter to that was you started like really like aggressively and I started like I was like, yeah, if I just wait long enough, it'll all come. Start with these workbooks and
I
it'll
think
all
I
come.
I swung to that once I started realizing how bad we were struggling, and then I started joining Facebook groups for homeschooling online, and I ended up joining unschooling Facebook groups, and so then I like hard swung that way, and then it was just like chaos into literally nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
My
that
other
was rough.
one of my like regrets that resonated with me that you mentioned was I wish I had redshirted both of my children. So I'm pretty like
Mm.
I feel like we need to have a better cutoff date. Both my kids, like my older two, are June and then August, which
Yep.
my oldest is the June baby, and he is solidly should have been redshirted, like held back a year, and
Yep.
started kindergarten at 6. He would have been fine. I think we actually might have maneuvered through all of the reading issues significantly better. I say that, and sometimes I think I gaslight myself into thinking he doesn't have real problems, like real struggles. Um, but he definitely does. So we wouldn't have avoided it completely, but it would have been better. And then, oh, my daughter, who was born in August, I should have never put her in kindergarten. And I remember her getting such low test scores and like talking to the teacher, and the teacher just kept reassuring me she's like just freshly 5. She's still a little baby. It's okay. She's not that interested in reading. She will read though. And I was like,
There is
oh, I was a mess.
the difference between like a January 5-year old and an August 5-year old is crazy. That because Rowan is my winter baby, my third, and his birthday's in January. And when I started him in kindergarten at 5.5, he was like everything was just clicking left, like so easy for him. And
Yeah.
like this is his kindergarten year, and he is flying through it.
It's really crazy because I look at my 6-year-old daughter and her cousin is an October baby. They're 9 weeks apart. So they're supposed to be a grade year apart.
Mm-hmm.
And she, like, I'm like, there's no way. Like, developmentally, you cannot tell me that my daughter, who is just 9 weeks older, should have just completed first grade while she just completed kinder. Like, that is
Yeah.
wild to me. We, like, I was talking to my mom the other day and I was like, I feel like May should be our cutoff. Like, you have to end the school year having, like, being 5 already in order to go into, and she was like, oh, I disagree. I think you should have to be 5 by the beginning of the year. Like, if in January you are not 5, you are not going in. so that
Mm.
everyone's going in, like, everyone's going in and they have been 5 for, like, so you'll still have older kids, but even your youngest ones would still be developmentally in a good place. Because there is a lot of research behind kids who have been redshirted being top of their class, or kids who
Yeah.
are like September, October, November birthdays, they are the top of their class because they are developmentally ready.
I don't know if you have ever heard this, and I have no idea if it's even true. My grandpa used to tell me though that when he was a kid, um, that there wasn't an age that you started. It was when you could reach your hand over your head and put it on your ear. And like it has something to do. I mean, like you can ask your younger kids to do it, and they can't reach. So it has something to do with like the growth rate of your body or something. But
I mean,
they were like, "Yep, if you can do that, you're old enough to go to school."
it sounds legit enough. I mean,
I,
I think
I
that's
believe it.
efficient as what we currently have going on. So,
Probably. It might be better. Who knows? Maybe
quite
that like
possibly.
shows the development better than age.
Yeah. No, no, I wish
I
I would have
do
redshirted.
wonder too. I wonder too, this is not super on topic, but I wonder too if babies who are born prematurely like should be held back. Like I wonder if that affects
And
like
it's not
abilities to
as
sit in
much
class.
about, I feel like holding back is such, like, has a poor connotation. But the reality is that now we're seeing states that are like swinging. Like, I send Emily stuff about this all the time because half my Instagram is literacy, because this is what I sit up at night and watch. And there's states that are now making laws that they're holding kids, like if you hit second grade, you are not going to third unless you hit all of the benchmarks for phonics. And so much of this
Mm-hmm.
is we're starting kids really early. We have all these babies that are going into kindergarten. They're not developmentally ready for structured literacy, or uh, even if they are, maybe they're not getting enough things at home. Like another year would benefit them. So we're gonna end up taking a year somewhere if they didn't thrive. So you might as
Mm-hmm.
well give them another year of childhood.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, like, finishing out school at 18 versus 19, like, it's really not gonna drastically change your life in any way.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, trying to push kids through to the next level when they aren't ready, it's just like constantly pushing them back and pushing them back and pushing them back. And not only that, but like their confidence. I don't know if you noticed this with Theo, but like Emery's confidence was in the toilet. She hated school so much because she couldn't do what I was asking her to do.
Yeah,
And so she was like, "Well, I just not good enough." So,
yeah,
but it was really because my expectations were just too high.
yeah. That's really it. Which, yeah, I I so like thinking back to where I was. I just wish I could have gone back and given myself a hug and taken more time to really understand methodology and philosophy behind I was going to do. I think it would have
Yes.
started.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know if I would have started later, but the way we started would have been different. Because realistically, my 4-year old is doing school, but her school is a book stack of good books. It is, you know,
Hmm.
it is school, but it's the same thing that my big kids are doing, just like way gauged back. Like she's still doing the things, but it's very developmentally appropriate.
I do wish if I could go back and like spend those 2 years where I fought so hard with Emery, spend those 2 years valuing my own education and like learning something for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Game changer. Like they could have been so different.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I just want to say like because I'm sure this is for both of us. Like we're not saying you don't do anything with your kids at 3, 4, and 5. Like yeah,
No,
like you said,
no.
read books. You
In
can introduce phonics, like all that stuff, but like sitting down and doing like actual schoolwork.
Yeah. Well, and I have a friend I
Just
talk to who will be listening to this. You know who you are. We talk about this all the time with our daughters who are, so my daughter who just turned 4, what it's going to look like because I feel like because my oldest really struggled with reading, I am like very solidly on this tightrope of early literacy is key. Like working on
Mm-hmm.
phonics and introducing letters early in life is really important. It's, but structured literacy lessons are not necessary right now. Like if we
Yeah.
look at like 5 minutes a day tops, looking at letters and sounds, that's all I need. And like, how can we, how can I implement and set them up best to be confident when we begin without overburdening? Because I love education and I love doing this stuff with my kids. I think this was something I feel like Charlotte Mason has given me a lot of freedom in, because every year I can have a book stack that I feel like is like one step more for my kids. So my toddler is going to do
Mm-hmm.
a pre-K program this year, and it's a big deal that we're going to read Charlotte's Web together. Will she understand a lot of it? Maybe not. We'll watch the movie first. We'll read it together right before bedtime. It'll be sweet memories. And that's what she's going to do. And that'll be her exposure. And it'll stretch her little brain, build some vocabulary. Like, it'll be sweet. So I enjoy doing stuff with my little ones, but it truly needs to meet them where they're at.
Yep.
Um, there's a lot of books that I feel like as a mother, I wish I would have invested time. Like if I had known and had an open mind to reading about educational philosophy, there's a lot of books I think that during those early years where I was attempting to do school with my kids, I think that it would have been more fitting to spend time reading on educational philosophy and what execution looks like, and get a full picture of what it was going to look like over the years, so that I entered homeschooling with a good overall view of what it was going to look like, the end goal, and just have a really deep understanding of what educational philosophy is, because I feel like I truly have had to build that as I'm homeschooling, because we got to the point where it needed, like, we had to be homeschooling. But then I was having to, like,
Yep.
re understand home education at the same time.
Oh, you know, what was okay? Hold on. I had a thought and I lost it. It was about unit studies, but now I can't remember what I was gonna say.
This is about unit studies.
Okay. Yeah, so you said something and it like made me think about unit studies for some reason and my dislike for them.
Uh,
But now I can't remember what I was going to say.
I'm not a big fan of unit studies.
Okay. We'll come back to that. I'm not
I'm
I
gonna
think
get
unit
some.
studies could be fun.
They're good
I
for
think they could
summer.
be fun for like the summer.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I actually saw a unit study I put on the back burner for maybe like next summer, and it was about
Mhm.
baseball. It was a history one. It was about baseball in America, and it tracked like how baseball has like how it changed alongside historical events. And I was like, what a cool, like, and actually next summer would be a great time to do that, because we'll be doing modern America. And so, like, baseball would fit into that. So it'll probably be next year's summer study. But, like, I like to have a good understanding of, like, the overview of what we're going to be studying. And I feel like we need to keep moving through time. Like, I don't want to jump the
Yeah,
gun.
exactly. And that's yeah, I think that was maybe what I was thinking when you were talking about philosophy was that with unit studies like they just yeah, they don't connect at all. And so I think it's really important for kids to continue making those little connections throughout their education.
I would say
And when you
unit
like
studies are
spend
great for like implanting in order to make those connections. So if you're going
yeah,
to be researching a time period and you want to do a unit study on someone or something that happened in that time period or something that would fit in well, that's great. But like not as you're like you need to have some kind of history rotation that you're constantly on.
yeah. Or unit studies are super great too if you have a kid who's just like super fixated on a topic. like you can easily go find a great unit study to just like dive in as an extra side thing just to encourage them in something that they enjoy.
Yeah.
Or even just like adding them in as like a side piece to your normal curriculum so that your kids are getting introduced to things that maybe wouldn't be involved. Like I don't know when botany is going to come up, but we have a unit study that I got from Harbor and Sprout on botany and like all sorts of other things that I had purchased a few years ago. And I'm like, they're just so random. I don't know when they would actually pop up in like the curriculum we're using, but they could still be fun to introduce just to
Yeah.
have some random
Uh,
information there.
Botany would be great just to do as a science. And if it's hybrid and sprout, that would be like
Yeah.
I'm in planning mode. I'm like, girl, use that for your science. We did a botany study from
I think
Homeschool Blue last year over the summer, and it was so much fun.
I think that we are going to because I bought a ton of Harbor and Sprout studies. I bought enough for a whole year because I got really excited about it and then realized that I hate unit studies, but they're fun
Yeah.
for just like for fun. So I think we're gonna just start doing them over the summertime and just like add them in randomly because I own them all, so may as well. There's so many different ones.
Oh,
I
botany.
like Harbor and Sprout a lot if you want something like that. I like that
Mhm.
curriculum.
There's
It's
so
really
many.
cute and it's
There's so
really
many
well done.
curriculums that I like, and I'm like, if that was our jive, that would like.
Yeah.
I I truly think that you really have to feel out what is going to work best for you, because once I really truly understood Charlotte Mason and like the rhythm of it, I was like, oh, this makes sense in my brain, and this makes sense for our lifestyle, and this is something I can implement, and I saw the beauty in that. But like, you have to really find something that's going to, it's so individual. You have to find something that's going to like vibe with your family.
Yeah. Which can be hard if you have a lot of kids because sometimes your other kids just need something a little bit different and that can get challenging. But I feel like there's always ways to work around that.
Yeah, especially if you're open to like, I've had to really come around to I can have a curriculum and not use every piece, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And being able to pick and choose parts that are useful for us and interjecting things that I find value in. And that's taken time to like settle into. Um, I just think that also comes with confidence and being familiar with a homeschool method.
How many curriculums have you used?
Actually, not a terrible amount. Um, we started out with master books for social studies and science, and um, math has been our struggle. Ooh, word, buddy. Math has been a struggle and has easily been the one that's consumed the most amount of, like, we've had the most curriculum for. For math, we started out with one that my mom actually had because I didn't want to spend money on one if I didn't have to. And it was scripted. Um, it was fine. I just, it felt very, like I wasn't in PDF form and I kind of had to like photocopy things. I didn't have a photocopier at the time. And so it was burdensome to try to utilize it. And it was called Making Math Meaningful. And then in the beginning of it, it was talking about how it was based loosely on Charlotte Mason methods for um, approaching math. And I was like, I like the concept of this. I just don't like execution. And so I started Googling math curriculums, and we landed on Beauty and Truth, which was another Charlotte Mason one. I like mastery. Like, I want us to just work on a concept until we need to move on.
Yeah.
Um, and we tried Beauty and Truth for my oldest, and then I had my youngest one doing The Good and the Beautiful because Beauty and Truth started in first grade and she needed kindergarten. I like ditched kindergarten pretty quickly with The Good and the Beautiful because I hated it so much.
Yeah.
It was a spiral method that was so chaotic. I felt like I just could not function. And then
My
she
children
actually
hated
did.
the spiral.
I hate spiral in general, but then like also The Good and the Beautiful is a special kind of spiral, I think. So we jumped
It is.
from that to I think Liesel completed Singapore math for
Hmm.
it wasn't Singapore Dimensions, it was another one, and it was fine. It was very easy. She did not understand the concepts though, and it was all workbook and there was no manipulatives used. So she finished it, and then we finished off the year that year with our the Good and the Beautiful, not the Good and the Beautiful, Singapore Math and Beauty and Truth Math. And then I was like, okay, I want one curriculum that you guys are going to singularly use. And so we did Math with Confidence, which this is where I'm at a struggle. I keep texting Emily because my oldest son, I really think Beauty and Truth laid down such a great foundation. He came into Math with Confidence with such a firm understanding of um, the relationship between numbers and understanding how to move in fives and tens and like place value. And so we went into Math with Confidence and he was just breezing through it. And then my daughter did the first grade and she cannot for the life of her pick up a place value. Um, so I'm like, right now, so we did Math with Confidence last year. My son finished level 2, and I'm trying to decide now if I put him into level 3. Or I ordered Simply Charlotte Mason's arithmetic for my daughter because it seemed like an
Hmm.
easy, like I just open the book and we go. And she's been doing that and she's been clicking really well with it. But my son has been like sitting there with us and he wants to answer the question. He likes the oral, like mental math. And I'm like, okay, maybe he needs, I don't know. I personally like Math with Confidence. It is like, it tells you exactly what to say. It tells you exactly what to do to explain the concepts, which I know Simply Charlotte Mason says too. It just felt like fun, and there's a worksheet that goes with it, and I'm like, I can hand them to this, and they are going to practice and reinforce these things, um, which my son is fine with, but I have a feeling he would thrive better with the Simply Silent Mason, and I think my daughter needs it. We've been working on place value, and now she's getting it because we're using money, and suddenly that clicked for her, and I was like, okay, is it flew over her head. So Matt's been the one that we've jumped around the most with. We've used a few. In language arts, we've had to like hone in on what we're going to be using. So we haven't consumed a terrible amount. It's been like attempting to add little bits more and more as we started off with very little. And then this last year we did a gentle feast for everything. And I loved that. But I didn't want to manage 2 forms, so we are doing with outdoors this year. And I'm not overwhelmed at all though, because it really is like, I feel like once you get into Charlotte Mason, everything's the same. It's
Hmm.
just a different, like, where are you clumping your grades? Where are you like, what are you doing all together and what's separated? Oh, you know what? The best history program I ever did, though, that I'm sad that I won't be using ever again, probably, was Symphony of History. It's what introduced me to history through Charlotte Mason style, like history.
Oh,
And it is,
I
but
don't think I've heard of that.
no, it's very small and it just got completed. Um, it's written by a gal that I had met on Instagram, but it's a 5-year history cycle, and I like my brain couldn't wrap around that. I wanted it to
Hmm.
be 4 or 6, so it fit in well.
Yeah, so it
Um,
actually, yeah.
because I want in high school for them to go through the history cycle a complete time, so that's why I prefer 4 year.
Yeah.
So hers is 5 year, but it was so cool because it had everyone was, you had these wonderful book lists and it had a brief introduction to your history lesson and then it kind of told you who the players were, what the big events were. Like it gave you a good guide to explain the time period and what was happening. And that's when we got introduced to reading books for history and we read all picture books that year and we learned more about history. I loved it. But also, our library changed, and I can't get the amount of books that I was getting that year. So that's also why we could go back to it. But Symphony of History was wonderful, and I would have gone back to it in a heartbeat. If
Wait, like you
I
can't
think.
check out that many books or they don't have them?
No, they don't have them because our library did weird things and divided, so we
Well,
don't have it like an inland co-op anymore. It's
oh.
like we can't borrow. We have to go pay for a membership at Coeur d'Alene's library now. Like they're their own group. But
Oh,
don't worry, my kids
that's
won't
why
be
my
able to
card
order
quit working.
pornography anymore from those libraries, which was the real worry. Don't
I was
don't worry
wondering because
about my kids.
I have a library card that I got from when I used to live there for Athol, and I used to use it all the time, and it would like cover all the libraries in all of North Idaho. But I was like, why isn't it working anymore? That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
because we broke apart.
Um,
There was some people got empowered and broke
I
apart. Mad.
I do actually feel like though I've been really struggling to find books in the library. Like every curriculum I've used that is literature based is like go to your library, go to your library. None of the books are ever there, and it's not like they're checked out; they just aren't there. And like we've moved around a lot because I've done literature based curriculums now in California, Hawaii, and North Carolina. In all three states, we have struggled. And then I also have a library card on Libby for St. Louis, Missouri. I don't really know why. But then I have it for Idaho, California, Virginia, Hawaii, and here. And the Marine Corps Library, which is like bigger. And I still struggle to find books, and it drives me crazy.
See, and that drives me crazy too because I would love to do more picture books. Like I love doing all the picture book options that we possibly
Yes.
can. But then I find that the picture books are not available, which is why yeah. At this point, I would
Well,
like curriculums that have less books, so I can just purchase them and be done because I hate not being able to find the books.
and I want a physical book. I would much rather have the physical book to read to my kids because if I pull up a book on Kindle on my phone or something, they're like just checked out.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but they like see the phone and they're like, "Oh, mom's on her phone." So I'm like, "No, I'm reading."
I'm reading
But they
read
actually
aloud.
do pretty well with YouTube read alouds.
We have opted for those a lot, and actually, I didn't realize that was a thing as much of a thing until there's a creator called Homeschool Glue, and
Mm-hmm.
she'll do like studies, Charlotte Mason style studies for specific things. Like she did a botany one that we used last summer. She has another science one. Anyways, she tries to do as many of the read alouds as she can that have YouTube videos accompanying them, and then she puts a QI code there. And I was like, well, this is so handy. I didn't realize there was so many books on YouTube for read aloud. But
I didn't realize that until this year, and it's been very nice.
oh, I love it. We do. We actually have one we need to read right now on that we need to go to YouTube to do. So, um, we had a listener give a tip. Now that we're ending the uh, end of our episode here, she requested that maybe we could end our episodes with a practical like takeaway that you can like go do based on the
Oh, I
topic.
like that. That's
I mean, how organized is that? So, what's some practical tips we got?
oh man, about homeschooling.
Like what is
Oh,
one thing that you like go do this if you are looking at homeschooling?
if you are looking at homeschooling and you are unsure of what style you want to do, there is a quiz, and I literally think it's called like homeschooling type. I don't know. If you type that in, it's gonna pop up, and it's a quiz, and it is going to ask you a billion questions, and then it's gonna give you like in order the curriculum or the homeschooling styles that fit you, so like classical, Charlotte Mason, unschooling, unit studies, whatever else there is. I don't know. But that's a great spot because then you can just click on it, whichever one was your top one. If you hate it, you can go to your second one. And it'll list a bunch of different curriculums that fit it. And then you can start your research from there.
Yeah. And then whatever you choose, go read some good books on like the practical application.
Mm-hmm.
because so much about homeschooling, like, is less about just like anyone can pick up a curriculum, but
Yeah.
really embracing that curriculum and what it has to offer comes from understanding of the philosophy behind it, the like
Yeah.
having an understanding. And I think workbook style is going to be pretty face value, but I know for sure that for me personally, I value Charlotte Mason education more as I have progressively understood the philosophy behind it. And I know that that goes for
Mm-hmm.
like things like Waldorf, Montessori, um, like, and a lot of unit studies are based out of different methods. And so understanding why your curriculum is written like this so that you can really get the benefits and truly embrace what it's there for.
Yes.
So,
Well, those are good tips.
wonderful tips.
Sorry we went a little over because, we're chatty, but
Yeah, I do realize
um
every once in a while I get like lost. I forget that we're filming. And so like as I was going through my like monologue of what math we use, I was like, what the I don't even know all of this. I'm talking to other people besides Emily.
I do
Emily
forget that sometimes too, that we're not just chatting with each other.
Emily needs to be able to reach through the phone and slap me and be like, Aisha, back on track. No rabbit trails.
And we just I should be quiet. Stop talking.
Anyway,
No, I disagree with your Aisha thinks that she talks too much and I disagree. I like what you have to say. So,
I'm just really
keep going.
rambly
But
recently. My brain's taking a long time to process things postpartum, and I get rambly, and I'm noticing that. So, my apologies for my math ramble there. I, you guys didn't even know that.
it's better than me because I'm the exact opposite right now and I start saying something and then my brain just shuts off. I'm like, "Huh. There was thoughts in my head at one point. They're gone."
Yeah.
They might come back in, I don't know, a year or so. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out and listening to us chat about homeschooling. And as always, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out because between us, we've probably used like 20 different curriculums and we've
Oh
been
yeah.
homeschooling for, I mean, we only have elementary kids, don't ask us for high school tips. We're not there. But
No, but I feel like we've had
we
enough
can give
trial and
some
error
solid.
up till third grade. We'll do a whole thing about reading. We both got to go on a reading
Yeah.
journey together, and I drug Emily into what we're using, and I'm so glad that both of us are using it because our kids are reading, like thriving, even.
I'm forever thankful for that because it is, yeah, we definitely need to just do a whole chat about that one someday. Okay, we're leaving now, so
Bye,
thank you
guys.
guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.